This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
We found aliens in Mexico!
Yeah, or something. Because naturally, we believe what the government says.
Exactly.
Especially the Mexican government.
I'm going to go back to eat my burrito now.
And, of course, Tyler Brockle.
2 weeks in a row. I'm on a streak.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Yep. And then, of course, if you didn't know by the title of this episode, we're joined again by our friends at Matador Arms. And tonight we have Zach and Chris. And tonight it's like Matador Arms Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having us again. It's been great. I know we've passed ways a couple of times at shows here recently, and hopefully again here soon, but it's good to be back for sure.
Yep, it is. Because I know the last time we saw you guys in person, and one of the things that we got excited about and talked about was at GunCon. And yes. That was the first time that we saw the new lower that you guys had dropped.
Yeah, it's quite the talk of the town, it feels like.
Or the rendering of, like, there was like it wasn't quite 3D printed, but it kind of was.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have Chris. Sorry, this way I got to get my camera angles. Chris, our lead engineer, here with us tonight. He is a big player in that community, and whenever we got Chris on board, he brought that kind of technology to us. And what's awesome is we've utilized it for a couple of things with some successes that we've had with Brownells, and then now, as you were saying, with our lower. And this is one of the 3D printed, like you were saying, versions of it. So now you can see it in person. And I know we're talking about it more here soon, but really excited.
Yeah, it was definitely. It's interesting to see how many lowers are coming out now that we are doing buffer tube deletes.
Yes.
I think would be the way to put that, just because everybody's going, hey, these things, if we don't have to have the screw in tube, that, and I think the advent of all of the pick rail, braces and stocks and the like.
Yeah, 13's the way to go.
Yeah, and that was a must for our lower. We just decided internally from the jump we weren't going to do buffer tube threads back there, and not, since our upper doesn't force anyone to have anything back there, no other adapter or anything, that we were just going to embrace 1913. Limits, some compatibility, but it's just not we're trying to drive things, forward and just throw some meat back there. And like you said, all the hinges, all the stocks that are on the market, it's by far the better option now if you can do it. If you can run an upper of that style, it's the way to roll.
Yeah, like I know that here on my OG,
yes,
yes. I have one of the pick rail adapters on my OG Matador Arms.
That's awesome.
I actually just had to throw this in the sonic cleaner this last week, because I finally shot it so much that it completely just failed to function. Like
I was there. It was awful. But no, he's only put like 5,000 rounds through. So, I mean.
Well, Yeah, that was my next question. Is what was your round count? Because I want to keep that for a record. I'm glad we have Chris here because that's the man to keep the numbers.
5,000 suppressed.
Wow. Yeah.
And of that, probably 2,500 was it binary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I shot that thing last month at a 3-gun event. That thing was fucking fun.
Yeah, and it's like at about 2,000, it started to have issues. So I did what every red-blooded American does, especially if you spent any time in the Army. Just drown it in lube and keep going.
Yeah. That's when you have to wear like a full face shield because of just all the mud that you're catching. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. And finally, like the bolt slowed down so much that you could watch it close. I was like, oh, okay, I need to. So I took everything apart and threw it in the ultrasonic, and now everything works again.
That's awesome.
It was right around that 5K count was where it started to die.
Wow. But it's his favorite toy, and so it'd be really funny if you guys put a deal on your website of where'd you hear about us, and if you just put Dooley as one of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many guns he's like, oh, I got to get one of those, and then he's like, well, here you go. Let me direct you to my buddies.
Yeah. Well, we are trying to open a wing on our website where that's one of the many things that we're doing in this small business of ours right now is trying to open a wing of that where, creators and vendors and podcasts, everybody, just fans alone can come and post. Maybe not. We kind of go back and forth. You can socialize there, or if you can just post, and then that's the end of it because we don't want it to turn into some kind of,
weird cult thing.
Well, yeah.
Wait, that's we like shooting.
All good around the hood, but yeah, just don't want it to turn into kind of like a pissing match. So it's like all cool guns. Everybody's got their flavor. But yeah, that's awesome to hear because we have one at the shop that we abuse, and I know Chris has a couple of on his end up north with him, and you could probably like chew the carbon flakes off of it if you get hungry out at the range.
Oh yeah, Chris, I should send you some close-ups of this. That,
please. Yeah.
Love to see it. I'm guessing at 5,000, you had nothing between the rails and the bolt anymore. That was just gum and garbage. That man.
Yeah, it was hot garbage. Like when I pulled it out of the ultrasonic, I was like, "Oh, there's shiny spots. This is neat."
That's awesome.
Like, hey, now we know where to lube it.
Right. We had one of the new Gen 2 or the Mat 9 uppers, not the Monaco 9 uppers at CanCon out in Arizona. It was one of the FDE ones, and we kind of the same thing. We're like, all right, we're going to use this kind of as a torture test, even though it's going to be in the hands of fans and people like that. And I think we abused not only the Sanzerco suppressor that they lent us, but also our upper. I mean, it looked like it had a custom paint job. There was so much black oil and everything else on there by the end of the weekend. So
yes,
pretty gnarly.
That was on my lower. That had so many rounds through it. Zach was trying to take the lower, wrap it up, and send it back. It was like a science experiment.
Yeah,
I think that broke mag catch. Some damage to it broke multiple parts that you rarely see failures of, while the upper just kept chugging away. So that was really nice. Like, these aren't our parts; these are just parts you don't usually see. But man, that thing got rocked. That got rocked.
It did.
Just such a compressed time frame. 2 days, 2,500 or $3,000 or whatever through it, all suppressed. Yeah. Just awesome test of everything.
It was a really cool science experiment.
Yeah, it's well, here I can show you one of the pictures I took of mine before it went through. I'll pull it up on screen so you can look at it. But it had so much carbon that on the trigger it actually had like was it stalactite or stalagmite?
Oh,
whichever one.
Yeah.
Growing up from the trigger. So if you look right here,
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was how dirty the lower is when I threw it in the sonic cleaner.
Wow. Yeah.
After I broke it apart.
So, yeah, you had to like wiggle it, like crack it in half. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best.
But this kind of stuff is 100% why from the jump we went with direct blowback instead of at the time trying to do a delayed system, squeezing that into this size package, because you can get it like that. Direct blowback, get it that dirty, and like you said, round one of it slowing down, spray some CLP on it, grab your dipstick from your car, motor oil, whatever the hell you have, get it out, chisel that crap off, and run it back in. There's nothing small. There's no anything. There's an advantage to simplicity.
It's Timex, man. It takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Yeah. And we only condone like actual gun lubes at Matador Arms, not like brake cleaner. I mean, actually, we use brake cleaner all the time.
WD-40 is not an oil for guns.
Yeah.
I recall a couple of years ago there was something about fire cleaning Crisco. So,
yeah.
No, that's a deep pull, I guess, for some people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now that we have
fancy gun lubes, man.
Oh, I've pretty much settled on whatever's in my range bag, and generally I just keep. A couple of years ago, Lucas sent out like everybody got those little sample bottles of Lucas oil.
Yeah.
And I still have like 3 of them, and that's what I still use.
Honestly, the only time you need to go, for everybody out there, like if you're in an extreme austere cold environment, that's where things can change. Anything short of that, if it's lube, it's lube. It's gonna run. Yeah. If you're going from a warm car to sub-zero temps, you might want to look into something meant for that. The rest of us, just run it.
Yeah.
Use dirty motor oil, run it. Just rock and roll.
Well, on my coyote guns I use in the winter, I actually use like a PTE grease just instead of a lube because it works better in that extreme cold. But other than that, I'm not going to rem oil everything, Thomas. No.
I was about to say, I feel like that's one of those topics in the gun world that there's just one side of like you're either here or you're there. That there's no in between. Just like the guys that clean their guns after every use, that kind of thing. And then there's the guys that just never clean it. There's no in between. It's just you're either one or the other for both of those topics. Well,
and it's weird because you can transition from one to the other rather fast.
Yeah.
Real easy.
That happened once I got a sonic cleaner. Then I needed to justify the purchase.
Yeah. You're able to jump real quick. It's like, well, no, I don't have to do any work now. It'll do it. That's good.
Yeah, I'm the only guy on the AR-15 podcast that doesn't have a sonic cleaner. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can use ours anytime. I'm like, it's so far to drive.
That's because you have so many guns, you can just rotate through them all and not need to clean them.
Yeah, but I've rotated through all of them, and now I need to clean them all.
I was about to say there'll be a day where you're at the end of that line, and now it's either buy a gun or a sonic cleaner, and I don't know which is cheaper. So.
Oh, buy's an option? Okay, we're fine then.
Yeah.
We'll get you an intern at some point, Garth.
Yeah.
That'll either be the best or worst intern gig ever.
Worst. 100% worst.
Yeah. Depends on the pay. I can put up with a lot if the price is right.
Yes. All right. Now that we have successfully, squirreled down that batch of rabbit holes, so obviously the Mat 9 is out and shipping to people, yes. And that is exciting. I know we got to shoot it while we were at GunCon and get some hands on with it. So that was exciting. And I am still rocking my old one and haven't picked up the new hotness yet. I'm still loving the old one, and I haven't got a new one yet. So
Hey, I'll get Alex squared away.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like I
yeah.
said, I'll send some pictures out of this one because this thing has been abused more than anybody probably ever intended it to be.
Love to hear it though. Love to hear it.
And part of it was doing a test case for like. There's a thing of, I'm going to carry this to use it, or like, could you use this as a sub gun type thing?
Yeah.
And as you spoke to earlier, or well, I think Chris did, the ultimate reliability of blowback 9mm, it just works. It's that keep it simple.
Yep.
If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid.
Right.
And we have been using blowback guns forever.
Yeah.
Like my very first PCC was a blowback gun. It was a Beretta Storm with the hot garbage plastic trigger. And I mean, the bolt on that thing weighed like 3 pounds. So it could soak up whatever you fed it.
Right.
But
right, yeah.
far less refined than where we are now.
Yes.
Yeah. But so when you guys had said we're moving forward with your lower, and you did the obviously the 9mm lower, that for anyone who didn't know, yes, it takes Glock mags.
Yeah. And that huge internal battle there amongst the team. We're a pretty solid team, but that was a debate that I thought was going to tear us apart.
Well, I mean, Scorpion mags would have been pretty cool too.
Second place contender.
So see this right here. This is why I love the industry, because I feel like every person. I think that was the one question I asked everybody at CanCon. I said, well, hey, I know what the good is. Tell me what you like about it, but tell me what mag you would prefer it in, if we started doing lowers. And I swear CZ was probably the number one requested, still is, even with our, kind of soft entry, release of our lower. CZ is it. Chris, sorry, here, I'll get my angles down by the end of the show. Chris here is rolling his eyes because, I'm going to start doing this. The engineering in it, from my understanding, is just the different variations of CZ mag. We'd have to pick like this, we're going to go with
generation.
Right.
Well,
you're right.
At some point, not to, give away the house, but we'll likely go down that path. It's
yeah.
But
yeah.
there is when PSA came on the scene and they ran through the different iterations for the ARV and AKV, they came up with a solution of their own, the ARV mags that they make. So you've got Magpoles, you've got the PSAs, you've got the Manticore Prepper Gun Shop mags, the original CZ mags, now the Gen 3 CZ mags. They're all ever so slightly different. And we want to make sure that if we say CZ mags, we don't have to follow that up with Palmetto State CZ mags or Magpul CZ mags, that we're good to go, that whatever Scorpion mags you bought are the ones that rock and roll. But like we all agree, that's a great magazine that has its own small set of challenges, but the upper's ready for it. If you happen to be lucky enough to have a New Frontier CZ lower before they stop making them, and I didn't buy all the rest of them, you can already have that combo. But we'll get there. We really will. It's on the list.
I might know where one of those is.
Get them.
It's in my safe.
Nice.
It won't work with your Monco, but it works fantastic with the Magnum.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I originally bought it before I'd even looked at my my Montgo, because I bought it while I was on deployment, and I was like, I'll come back. I got a mill and a lathe, and I'm sure I could make that work. But I flipped it upside down and I looked at it and I said, no. And I put it
Almost. I've made the combos work, but that one, there's just not quite enough meat on the bones of that bolt to make it happen and clear the feed lips. So it is what it is.
And
we'll get there.
The one thing about it, when you're talking about the magazines, I know that recently we were talking to an optics company, and they were talking about how so magazines, this is one of those things that people don't realize, where the little changes in magazines from different manufacturers goes the same way for like optic cuts on pistols, because the most common optic cut in the world is actually a doctor cut, not an RMR. But
Really?
but when people would go, okay, hey, so we did a doctor cut, they go, well, the doctor won't fit on it. Well, what we did was we used, and they refused to say the name of the brand of optic that used a doctor cut, because they changed. It was, it's just a little bit smaller, and then it wouldn't fit anything because it was like, a nanometer or two off. And when Vortex did that and made their own mount, or kind of their own different system, it changed a lot of things up. And it's not that we have any heartburn against Vortex, but I was like, I know which company this was, because they didn't want to say they were using a doctor mount.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most prevalent is Doctor because of all the gun companies that insisted on making it, but the one that everyone just simply wants is RMR, and that's a failure of gun companies. When we did whatever random nonsense, like please don't, like just do the echelon thing or give us an RMR cut and let's all drive on with life. So once you play on your own optic,
I know RMR gang.
Yeah.
So I understand. And then, but when we get into optic cuts, because then it's, because I look around here, it's like, oh hey, RMRs, and then I had to do a Delta Point because SIG and Big Army. And,
oh yeah. Yep.
See, I see head shaking down there, just like,
it's just so bad. So
well, I'm waiting for the engineer to just like blow it. You're like, oh man, this is, you guys are doing the things.
Well, it's been a great show. All right.
But so now that we're talking about like some of the different design changes and problems that were inherent with that, I'm going to share some of the images of the lower for anybody who didn't see them.
Yes.
And this is just going to be way easier because I have far too many of them open to just let them go through. But so this is the lower with the Mat 9 on it, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And then is that a JM or one of the
JMac?
Yeah, JMac. That's the
that's an original SIG MCX Kate Moss stuff. The Gen 1 that everybody gets hard over. That's one of those.
And
the
that's
Kate
our
Moss
grip
stuff
too.
Yep.
And that's our grip on the lower there. The only thing you're seeing on that lower, not representative of what you're going to be able to purchase from us, is ours are going to ship with a Battle Arms safety that just has a I don't know,
a rando ambi.
Random ambi safety, CMM MA part something or other, and we didn't have our we don't have our mag release serrations decided on there yet. So the mag release will be serrated, horizontally serrated, and they will ship with a PDQ ambi bolt catch installed on all of them.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Fully equipped, everything ambidextrous right from the jump. And the ambidextrous mag release on the Glock lower was one of our challenges. There's a few other ones on the market. They all had what I consider to be compromises that I didn't want to deal with. So we ended up with a ball and socket design. I had two things had to happen for me to be happy with that ambi mag release. The buttons had to be as close as possible to being in the same place on both sides, which is a challenge. And they have to be the same pressure on both sides. You'll find a lot of the pistol mag ambi lowers are significantly harder to press on, like if you're a lefty on that side. And we wanted to figure out the geometry and leverage so that the presses were consistent, the location was consistent, and the feel was consistent. And totally new design there.
You know,
pretty well.
I'm not sure I have ever actually felt an ambi pistol mag lower.
There's
Other
not a
than
lot
like
of
the demo one you guys had at shot or at GunCon.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to, pursue that. I believe the last time we were on the show too, I think one of the things that we were focused on is that I personally believe that eventually across, the firearms industry as a whole, ambidextrous fire controls is just going to be the new standard eventually. And then
it's the way to go. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you talk to anybody that's in, operational capacity, they teach, fighting while wounded or, different types of barricade style shooting and things like that. You're never going to have the best shooting platform under, stress. So you may have to react to what's not natural or your norm. So being able to shoot both sides of your body, both hands, should be the standard. So ambidextrous controls was just kind of what Matador as a whole, and then Chris was able to facilitate that. And then Dexter over at NFA has been working hand in hand with Chris. They are just an awesome team together, and Chris has obviously just brought this to the table, and it's just been, top notch. Just excited for everybody to get it into their hands.
I know as a left-handed shooter who shoots right-handed guns, ambi controls are fantastic.
Yes.
I'm the same. I'm cross dominant, and I'm an AK guy, so I don't care.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am too.
The team drives me to care about ambi controls. So what I end up with is my standard is they have to be actually ambi. Like you see all the ARs out there with an ambi bolt release. They call it ambi, but like for us lefties, like I already was good to go with an AR.
Yeah.
I do everything I need to. But I always was driven crazy by why is it just like the PDQ is perfect because if it's ambi, give me both functions on that side. Don't just give me a release. Don't give me half-ass ambi. Give me identical as possible controls on both sides of the rifle. So driving forward with everything we do, if we claim that it's ambi, we're going to be not partially ambi. We're going to be fully, does everything.
No, and that is really looking at where everything is going. I think it's the next logical step all the way around. I mean, the answer isn't, they shoot left-handed. What should we do? Teach them to shoot right-handed.
Yeah.
Those.
Kinda, because lefties. But anyway, that's a different story.
But that was, that was very much so a thing for a lot of years. I'm ambidextrous. Like I grew up, my teachers literally beat writing left-handed out of me. So I still write with my left hand. I just write terribly. And it looks the same with my left or my right. And it's worse than my 11-year-old daughter's. But, I'll admit that all day long. But the other part of that is I shoot right-handed. I throw a ball right-handed. It's just I would write with my left hand. So being ambidextrous as a person, it's okay. Yep. So that makes sense. But being able to actually articulate all of the different functions of the control groups is important. And like even just when people first started putting ambi safeties on ARs, that was a huge step forward.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Even you get that little quick flip now where you're not using just your thumb anymore. But if you're trained to come on safe every time you transition the muzzle, that ambi safety giving you, I don't know if you guys all do it, but I do, that quick double finger flip versus just trying to manipulate your thumb. It's like game changing. Everything's better when you can do that. I love it.
Oh yeah, but it's you're running both of them at the same time.
Yep.
And you can kind of just run whatever.
Glock Gen 5 slide stops. I do the same exact thing. I love it. Because I shoot pistols right-handed, rifles left-handed. But I come up on a Glock and it's both fingers for his thumb and forefinger, that real positive drop. Why you laughing? You know what happened? I shot right-handed my whole life because who knows you're cross dominant. I get to boot camp. We're like 2 days into snap in. I'm shooting right-handed. First day on the range, PMI walks up, has me do the little circle thing. Just throw the 16 in my left hand and be like, "You shoot lefty now." It's like, what?
Yeah, we have done that as well. So I do marksmanship for National Guard here in South Dakota. Like that's my job. And so I've looked at someone and be like, "Hey, are you left-handed? You know, or are you cross-dominant?" Why? Well, because you've been at this for a while and you can't hit shit.
Yeah.
So, and it's though the nice way of saying it. And like I think to prove it to one guy, I ran out to my pickup and grabbed a CD. Yes, I have a pickup old enough to still have CDs in the CD player. And like stuck it up on the bridge of their nose and went, "Do you see the label or the shiny side more?" He goes, "Well, the shiny side." I was like, "Okay, you're left eye dominant." "Well, how do you know that?" "Just shut up and listen to me, man."
Right, yeah. Yeah. It's I see your shot group. Let's just stop arguing at this point. Just hear what I have to say. Yeah.
Do 10 rounds your way and 10 rounds my way.
Yeah, that old chestnut. That old chestnut.
But we're gonna go back to Days of Thunder and
Yeah.
But old Tom Cruise movies aside. So when you made this lower, obviously you designed it with the intent of it marrying up to the Mat 9.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Have you tried it on any of the other platforms yet?
So we haven't tried it, but I'll tell you where it'll work. If there's nothing extra behind the buff, like nothing, like so you got that curve at the back of your upper. If nothing has to happen behind that, you're going to be good to go. A lot of the 9mm bufferless uppers, and I don't want to trash talk anybody, they still have other crap that you have to install back there, or they have to ride in just a hair into the buffer. It's not going to work. So we weren't at this stage. We're not super concerned with compatibility across the board. Our goal is to outfit people that already bought Mat 9s and, of course, release complete guns on our system.
And two, the last time we talked as well, Matador has been moving at a breakneck pace since our conception. And, again, Chris, that's why he's sitting down right now, is because he's carried the weight of the rest of the team as far as product development goes since day one. Surprise, his back's not broken right now. But and NFA has done an absolute wonderful job at just getting us that one. And I mean, right now, Chris has got the gold bar. Actually, I think he just mailed it to Texas. So the actual one working metal, ready to go lower is in Texas right now. So if you guys want to run there and steal it, it'll be worth its weight in gold. But so we still have a lot of testing to do. We still have a lot of things to start gathering, but all in all, where we're at right now and where Chris has done his testing is we're pretty confident in that, in his position right now.
In function with our stuff. And like I said, at the moment, just not being concerned. Like the upper is the opposite. The upper works with everything. That's our tagline. The lower, not as much of our concern at the moment. Essentially because we don't want to lose any kind of function with our system to be as good as possible, and we don't want to make any compromise so that it works with X, Y, or Z as far as the lower is concerned. It's just not the jam right now. You guys did a podcast like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We were talking about AR, how it's hard to buy a bad AR now. You can buy, and that doesn't really necessarily apply to 9mm ARs.
This is true. I
will to buy a bad 9mm AR. And we're trying to make sure that we, especially at the price points we try to stay at, that we change that we're not selling any gimmicks or untested things, and we're selling a good working AR that just does 9mm AR that does what you expect it to do.
Yeah,
and, it's a challenge.
Yep. Well, and that is one of the reasons why I was so excited for all these. I know that I have been telling people that we're looking to build one, obviously to, hey, check out the Mat 9. Like that's where it's at, because you can run that on anything.
thank you.
Well, and these guys have, it's one of those where I'm not saying it to be lip service to you guys, because you're not sponsors. And like I should say that these guys are not sponsors. And no, it's I just really have believed in the product. And when I shot it, like Garth's right, it is my range, it's the range toy that I take with me every time we go out. And they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool. What else you got?" I'm like, "Oh, you got to try this thing." And I throw it out. Then I get the same question. Well, how much does that cost? And I look at them, I'm like, this one, or like what you would build? Because like I don't pay tax stamps, guys.
Yeah.
It's being a dealer for things can have its perks at times, but when you can demo a silencer is a little bit easier on the wallet than okay, we'll try this one out. So is there, speaking of moving forward, are you guys ever looking at maybe doing a 16-inch rifle length version?
So this has been, so Chris and I were both like, all right, well, just to answer the question. So yes, we are. And Chris has worked again tirelessly. I'll beat that dead horse, especially with how hard this team works, to bring something like that into pretty much the engineering space. We've got everything all the way through and through. It's more of, at this moment in time, I want to say yes for other, how should I word that, Chris? Other industry names. So it'll kind of like the BRN9. It'll be like that, but just through a different name. Now, Matador, internally, we...
The 16, I mean, I thought the 16 was us at this point. Maybe I'm confused. I might have missed the meeting.
Yeah, see, so there's where the media is. It is to a degree, but before you see Matador's 16, you will probably see another company's 16.
A white labeled.
Yes, and then because right now we're actually we'll tell them about this, Chris. We've gone through our product lineup and we're coming kind of like hand in hand with the BRN9. We're doing a K variant. So that's another really exciting kind of release. It's going to have all the same facade work and appearances, very similar to the Mat 9. It'll just be much smaller because that has been a request. It's back down to kind of the Montgo size. But yes, 16 will most likely be in the near future as well.
Yep, and that's it's I've said before on the record, as far as braces and things like that, if free men don't ask permission. But
join the FPC.
Yes, I am a proud member of the FPC, and it's that has seemed to have kind of gone out of the limelight, of people being worried about that, especially if you live in New Mexico.
No kidding.
More worried about.
I see on social media, no one cares. I see people building brand new brace stuff all day long. I've never seen mass non-compliance like this. It's tear to my eye. I love it. I love that people just do not care. You might as well stop. Okay, drill the third hole. Like, rock on. Do your thing.
Yes. Yes, I am all about that, and that is the right thing. Like, if you're gonna make me a felon, I'm gonna have fun doing it.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to get into the dark humor, but I was going to say this can either be a pleasant exchange on a range or a homicide. It's up to you because, dead man tell no tales. So that's up to you guys. That's all. I mean, to each his own. But
yes, stubby stocks.
Yeah, stubby stocks.
On the subject too. I mean, I don't know exactly how much we care about dropping info, but on the subject of the 16, for suppressor fans, we've got something amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I gotta tease that. There's so much into what we're doing there.
We, you know what? I think so. I don't think purchasing and the rest of the team would mind. I think it's sure. Do we need to send an image over? I don't know how we can pull that up, but
I don't even know if I have one to fast pull up, but let's just verbal. Imagine the
equivalent picture with your words.
Yeah, imagine the equivalent of a 12-inch AR rail or a Mark 18 length rail, but you had an 8-inch barrel tucked in there. You could fit up to a 1.6-inch can inside that barrel, and that ended up just shy of flush. That's what we've got coming for you. M-Lock on
awesome
sides.
Yeah. Oh yes, the quintessential SD.
Yes, it is essentially allow you to build a Mat 9 SD, and
it is
fantastic.
It twitched a little, like it just twitched a little. Not gonna lie.
Right?
Well, and I was thinking about it too. You would have seen kind of a preview of that even at the Brownells
yep.
show.
I was just say we saw that. We saw that kind of. I think it was worded as a barrel extension.
Sling. yeah. So that's one of the new things that is in the pipeline. It's well on its way. Another product that Chris has completed. It's now in purchasing's hands, soon to be in Alex for media and marketing. You know the gambit, and so that's the reception on the last day at the Brownells event was just extreme with that crowd alone. Now there have been some critiques. That one there was again 3D printed, so that was really neat to use that technology again, and we've really enjoyed that community, by the way. I hope, it is something that Matador Arms will continue to do through and through. I was just
going to ask about that. So we've talked about it with a couple other, retailers who were there or, companies that had showed up. And I've said that it's kind of becoming my favorite event just because, it is a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more intimate. And then, of course, we get to see our friends.
Yeah.
So, that's always exciting.
On a write-off.
Yeah.
But, do you guys see the value of events like GunCon?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be quite honest. It's not even just the, again, this being kind of my first year into this industry. I know Chris and, my partners and my brother-in-law, they've been in this industry quite some time. And this is my first year into it, and I absolutely love it. And it's events like that. If it was up to me, if there was no budget, we would attempt to be at just about all of them. Because one of the things that also helps our team and that we strive to do is that some of the conversations I've had over events, I know a lot of the good things about our product, and I know a lot of the good things that everybody likes about our product. So what's fun is to be humble and receive that constructive criticism from everybody, or what's next, or what's new, what would you prefer? And so events like that to me are very, very important. And then again, like you said, just seeing friends and building that rapport with one another. It's a small realm. So
yeah, it feels a whole lot less corporate at something like that.
Exactly.
SHOT Show, you're sitting there in the wasteland of booths going, hey,
Well,
what's going on? Like our buddies stopped by, but then so did 5 guys who still want like to sell wooden gun racks. And are going, what do you got here, Sonny?
Yeah, it's my first shot was quite an eye opener. It was a ton of fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. I was probably the biggest fanboy there to all the brands that I've utilized in my workspace. To the point of where people were probably trying to shoo me away at the last day. But yeah, I totally understand. But it's still good to pick people's brains, and you hear some of the best ideas or some of the best input from random people that may not even be interested in your product, but they come by and they see your booth and they see what you got going on, and the one thing they point out is hey, I like it,
Yep. And I'll continue to keep going to SHOT because, well, again, I get to see friends. I see cool stuff. They do still drop stuff there. The Vegas nonsense is the Vegas nonsense.
Yeah.
And,
and I find cool shit there every time I go. And I go to Dooley. I'm like, dude, I just saw this new cool thing. And he goes, yeah, dude, that's been around for like 5 years. But new to me.
Yeah.
So I apparently don't
it's kind of like one of those things where, when people come out with products for like ARs and everybody gets chewed up about it. And it's like, but at least they made some attempt to do something different. Everybody can hop on the bandwagon of just creating another AR-15 lower receiver. You could go down that path 100 times over, but even small changes, just offering your lower receiver with an ambi safety, like we talked about earlier in this conversation. It's just, it's small changes that will create more and more ideas. And then the next thing you know, your AR is vastly different from every other AR, even though you may have started in that space. So
on the subject of those shows, I love the small shows, especially with the shooting aspect with the public.
Yeah.
That is by far the jam. I mean, like SHOT's cool, but it's so rad to just see, your customers, be they critical customers or happy customers or potential customers, whatever, actually shooting your stuff. You get to go around, show people stuff. There's so much value in that, like, small space interaction.
Yeah.
I agree. And also, I see I did just get an email from you.
Yeah.
So I'll share that.
Hey,
you can see that.
Can you share the image of what we're doing? Do you care?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Hey, you lose. There you go, guys. So, I mean, this is what we're coming out with. Who cares? Like,
Yep. Now that is awesome, and I see what you did there, and I like it.
The suppressor represented there is an Omega 9K to give you an idea of the fitment with a 9K. That's your standard 9mm subgun can. It's gonna be rad. You're gonna have people going back and pausing that.
That'll be one of those, like, the old most pause scenes, and it was like Colby Cates coming out of the pool.
Yeah.
And then it'll be Matt Go 9.
Yeah. It's skipping everything else. It's just like they talked about Silencer Co. suppressor. It's just right to that point, done. It's like, all right, Silencer Co. just stole it, but we love you, Silencer Co. They have been with us hand in hand from day one, because as you guys know, the Osprey, it looks like it was meant for the Mat 9. So, but that's the lineup right there. So
so that looks awesome. And there is only one thing I could see conceivably that would make any of these products better, and that is a VZ grip. Because VZ grips don't get slippery when they're covered with mud, blood, or sweat, 17-degree grip angle, and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, and color options available, as well as the shorty versions for easier transportability. 1911 grips, Beretta grips, CZ grips, all with extreme customizability. Standard and slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. This coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast. That was a segue.
That was well done. Well,
Yeah. I'm telling you, I got to work on it.
Grip is it too. I mean, they're just awesome. So it's a good sponsor to have, man.
Yeah, well, and it's like I did like handling your guys because it is a unique grip angle. The one you guys designed is, and I've ran about every type of AR grip that's out there. I think as I look around my office, I have 2 rifles with VZ grips, an old Hogue grip, an Ergo grip.
Yeah.
Hogue grip smoked UBL. I mean, that's if you want, but there it was. 16, a son of mad.
Hogue grip on a quad rail 300 blackout.
Nice.
Do you have any executive ordnance grips? I don't know if you guys are familiar with them from back in the day. I
recall them, but I don't have any.
The owner kind of dropped off face of the earth. He made some products for me at another company, and we had some matching D10 stuff. And man, like when I find them now, I snatch them up. So anybody watching that has an executive ordnance grip that wants way more than it's worth, just reach out to me because I collect the shit out of them. They were brilliant and just gone. A bunch of clones. Sharps makes kind of a clone, a couple other startups, and none of them are as good. David, the designer there, had just a magic touch, man. And they look uncomfortable, yet in your hand, they're just jewelry on your gun. They feel great. They're my jam. So yeah, hit me up with your executive ordnance grips. Make a whole bunch of money.
Oh, so were these the ones that used a? Did they use a G10 grip insert?
Yeah. I can show you. I literally have. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Unique ARs is still making stuff for them.
Oh, are they really making the parts for them?
Yeah, they're. Yeah, Unique ARs is doing the G10 grip panels for them.
I told you a lie, and I don't have one where I thought I had one sitting. They must all be put away. But yeah, they were amazing. I did not know Unique ARs were still doing them. I might have to look into that.
Or at least they have.
As hell, but had to get it out there.
Hey, that works. It's one of those where I just see they have a YouTube talking about them.
They were amazing.
Oh no, they reviewed them. And the website to buy everything is of course gone. Vaporware.
Great products, man. Great products. And poof, gone one day. It was a shame. But hey, buy the Matador Arms grip. It's awesome.
There you go. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Problem saying solved. Rangers lead the way.
Yeah. Great save, Chris. Great save. I like that cleanup, buddy. We didn't even rehearse that.
I know that there's one question that I'm curious about, and we see this lower coming to the market. It's bufferless. And it has some amazing features that if we could transfer some of those features over to something, maybe scaled up a little bit to where if we had let's say a BRN 180 or maybe even one of those PSA Jackals, but if we had a lower that actually did the right things. So see the engineer's wheels turning.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I keep just dropping everything. I'm never getting on a podcast again.
Well, yeah, I was about to say I'm turning my phone off because my team's about to. Yeah. See, they're stalking us now on the podcast, so we've already let a lot of.
Okay, I'll just be quiet. So I have these ideas and I say things out loud, and nothing I say can or should be considered legal advice or product advice.
Do we? Here's the safest answer I can give you. It's accurate and it's safe. Do we talk about everything that shoots bullets and what we can do in that space? So, be they rifle calibers, pistol calibers, do we talk about it? Do we consider it? Absolutely. Yeah. When are you going to see it? I don't know.
You're right. There you go. That's the safe. Yeah, that's a perfect safe answer.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah. The
and I've said it a lot. The cool thing about being in particularly in an engineering role within the industry is you see a lot of cool shit that never actually comes to fruition, whether it never left a marker board, or whether there is a prototype existing of it somewhere.
Yeah.
You see a lot of crazy shit that the average shooter will never knows was even a thought.
Yeah,
And to me, that was one of the coolest things about this industry is just knowing that shit. But it also haunts me, right? Because it's like, God
right?
damn it,
Depressing.
that
It's so
not
depressing.
thing. Somebody owns the patent to it, and they've mothballed it. And yeah.
It's that yes, and Chris can contest to this just as much of, and it's one of those things where from my position is I have to be very careful about saying things or showing pictures because the last thing I want to do is let any of our fans or potential customers down, because we don't want to be the all talk and no deliver company. And
so you mean Desert Tech?
What's that?
The actual names, just say names of companies. Say things you don't like. There, it's out in the open.
Oh, see, I have this bad habit of like forgetting that I still think that I'm just an idiot in my basement, because I am. And then I remember that
we're on a conference call right now.
And people actually listen to this, but the other part is I would have that same conversation if they were sitting here, and I'd be like, oh, like you guys? And I would just look at them like, defend yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me why the MDR took 6 years to come to market.
Well, and not in their defense, but from my perspective, and what I've dealt with in the year in this is that you have all this grandeur of like, okay, let's put this plan into action, right? And Chris and Alex, who is now on, stalking us on here, and no telling however many other of our partners are now watching Chris and I. Is that you put this plan into action. We spend all this time negotiating. We slap the table, and then 2 weeks later, it's like any military mission. It all goes to put the first step out the wire. Comms go down, the plan goes to crap, and then that's that, and then you're out there at least deviating from a plan, and then the next thing you know, it's 6 years later.
I do understand.
2 years and $100,000 later, and you're just getting to the prototype. Yeah, no, we've been there.
What we should do today, all of that stuff is real deal pipeline on the way. Things are ordered. Timelines are not my wheelhouse, but those are all reality. Be patient. The things we're not directly talking about are all things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, and it's I should say I say things out loud, but it's some of it is don't mock up a prototype and be like, this is coming out soon, because then it turns into like I'll name drop another company here that came to SHOT Show, and they had an MP5 that everyone got to play with, and they're like, oh yeah, coming out like Q4, we'll have this MP5.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the 357 that just came in the plastic mold.
No, not that one.
Well, who were those guys? Those were awful. Don't do that crap.
Yeah. The PSA MP5 was killed by the Turkish lira exchange rate. As soon as Century was able to bring MKEs in for $1,000, making an MP5 in the US was dead. There was no point whatsoever in doing it. I'm sure that's the MP5 you're talking about.
Oh, 100% it was. It was I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. And
yeah, I don't think they could right now. I don't think they could even compete with the Century MKEs, and it's a shame because more options would be good. But
and roller delay is cool. Like it has its place, but
it does. If you don't get me on a tangent, it does when you use it, and it's. Look, I'm not gonna say names. I'm not falling into that trap, Sig. But no, I'm not even talking about Sig.
All right.
In the space we're in, there's a lot of whiz bang delayed 9mm ARs. Whether or not they all deliver their whiz bang promises is a whole other ball of wax. And the MP5 works because it's steel, it works. But if you guys shoot MP5s, you're well aware it only works with 124 grain NATO. That's when you have your factory rollers and a factory MP5, that's your jam. One round where it actually is doing what it's supposed to. If you suppress it, you're beating it to death. If you run weaker ammo, they don't function right. There's a lot of things that aren't great about roller delay and a lot of things that are great about it. But that's why, long story short, we decided to stay blowback for right now because we're not selling to guys that only shoot 124 grain NATO, and change their extractor springs every 500 rounds. We're selling to you guys. Get whatever crap you have, throw it in here, rock and roll, shoot it 5,000 rounds, don't clean it. That's stuff you can't do with an MP5. And stuff you really can't do with a kind of faux P5 dressed up like an AR. It doesn't necessarily work. Yeah, I am not saying names. I said all the names without saying names.
I'm about to get a call from our accountant that's like, yeah, you're not putting any of this on the market anytime soon. I'm about to get a cease and assist from Sig and everybody else. Like, hey, I heard you're just talking smack on.
No, you guys have been doing nothing but defending companies.
Okay.
It's I'm the one who is the asshole, but that's part of my nature, I guess. So for the military people, I had an evaluation. It wasn't a full NCOER, but it was one of those like mid-tour evaluations. My commander wrote something that I am very proud of, and and this commander wrote, "Staff Sergeant Dooley is aggressively honest."
Hey. Sometimes that's just mistaken as people that are forward, the way the world should be.
Which I was like, oh, all right. And I know that wasn't meant as a compliment.
But it's the only way I can take it.
All right. Yeah. Well, at least he knows where you stand,
Oh, yes. Yes, very much so. We that individual and I never misunderstood where I was coming from.
Exactly.
But
in an occupation like that, that's definitely needed for sure. No gray area.
So I sometimes will continue to be like, oh no, this is what it is, and I just can't help myself.
No worries.
I'm right.
So
I'm the worst. The worst.
Hey, we're having a good time tonight, though.
True.
So now that we know the gold brick is on its way to Texas,
yes.
When are we actually going to see the lowers come out? As we've talked about vaporware and all of the problems that come with the industry and meeting terms.
So since this is being recorded, I'll be very careful. And we actually just talked about this in a meeting yesterday, and the day before that too, because that's how much it changes. In our current position and situation right now, just with the market as a whole, and then where we're at with some paperwork stuff on Matador Arms' side, realistically, with an aggressive push, you would see him at the end of this year. Honestly, it's probably a safer, because one of the things, and as we spoke earlier, or I spoke earlier about being, that humble cat, owning your mistakes is like, last SHOT Show, we were like, oh yeah, they're coming, they'll be here on this date, this month, that the latest, and that was with a comfort cushion, and then obviously, unfortunately, that release had a little bit of a hiccup And that is where I learned very quickly the whole like it'll be out soon. Soon being 8 months after I said it would be out.
So you heard it here just in time for Christmas.
Yes, maybe it might be a New Year's like release sale thing.
We didn't say what year.
Yeah, it'll be out Christmas of 2026. But
just remember, we'll come see you at the SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually hoping to come see them at Rocky Mountain Range Day.
Yeah, well, so I think, unfortunately, unless some things change, TriggerCon will probably be our last big event for this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is understandable because one can only do so many events.
Yeah.
And like we're down to about 3 events, and it's because 2 of them are driving distance.
Yeah. That's
if you call 11 hours driving.
Well, that's what we're doing.
It is a work.
Yeah. So, but we will see. You'll see the lower, which was obviously now with the grip and the upper. You'll see our full PCC lineup, or just the lower receiver. But yeah, hopefully by year's end, quarter 4.
I cannot wait. That is awesome. And if the lower works half as good as the uppers do, like it's gonna be beautiful. And honestly, I'm trying to think of the right way to word this without sounding demeaning. But it's way harder to screw up a lower. Like
It was an aggressive honesty.
Chris is like, I've got about 1,000 man hours.
No, he does, and I get it. And like, you can get holes drilled wrong and having everything go the right direction, but once you put the mag in the right spot and the hammer falls.
Generally speaking, yep. Now we have last round ball hold open. We have the ambi mag release. Those 2 things, mag release, good to go. Getting last round ball hold open to actually work, not to just say you have it and then tell the customer you're using the wrong mag, you're using the wrong ammo, you're using the wrong spring. To get it to actually work in a Glock lower is a bit of a challenge. But you're 100% right. Like Eugene Stoner figured out the back half of that lower. 65 years ago, there's not a lot of mystery as to what to do there. Things go here and then they work.
Oh man, that upper joke got me. That's painful. That's $250,000 in like 8 months worth of engineering. Just a joke.
I don't know. I just want to put things go here and they work on my business card now. That's my takeaway for the night.
Man.
That's the beauty of doing just AR, bro. Yeah, like how simple it is on the face of things to be an AR company. Like everyone already, you can just go to people that make all the things you need. Like I just need a mil-spec upper. I need a mil-spec lower. Like I'll design some cooling slots in my M-Lock forend and here. Like this will fit my heart. We do all the shit that makes it work. Like it's not to demean companies that do that because there's still challenges, but a lot of hard work was done for you, more than half a century ago.
Well, and Eugene Stoner got it right, and then he did it with the AR-10, and then old Bill Sullivan, who's actually the I will champion this. He is the unsung hero, or Sullivan is the unsung hero of the AR.
Absolutely, 100%. Eugene Stoner deserves more credit now for his input into the AR-180, in my opinion, than the AR, because everything's an AR-180 now. Like every cool guy new gun is just an AR-180 in a fancy flat dark earth suit. Like they're all AR-180s.
Well, the British did it with that bullshit bullpup they have, which if you've ever shot one, they're horrible. But it's an AR-180 in different furniture, like it's a cross-dressing one. That's bad. And
are you saying there's good cross dressers?
No,
That's
I'm
what
saying
I'm
like
hearing.
I'm saying
That's
this
what
is
I
a
got.
really
really hot
bad one.
transvestites, but one of the ugly ones.
No.
Yeah, it's the Bud Light of rifles.
Well, there goes my career in politics.
Or are we kidding? We're all fucked.
Yeah,
I
I no, really it is the AR-180 and the AR-18 did push so much of, like, a Tavor is pretty much an AR-1
spear, parts of the what the hell, the Scar, not all of it. The Scar is kind of a hybrid design, but the spear, the P-Run, the Bren is just like the Bren and spear. They're just AR-180s with a bunch of like patents over like little tiny changes. But they're tan AR-180s with M-Lock. Like,
yeah, and it's
the spear made junk somehow. Sorry, Sig.
That's okay. You're talking to like the one guy who loves the Spear LT more than anything ever.
I'm sorry for your loss, bro. Like, I really, truly,
like you can see Tyler quietly weeping there in the corner.
you have one, right? Like, you own one?
Oh yeah, I have one. I love it,
and you love it. I got one, and I was so mad. I was so mad to have my heart broken in so many ways. Like, it's gone now. It's Cerakoted and down the line.
You released it back into the wild, huh?
With its rail kicked off to one side, doing its spear things.
Yes. And you know what else is doing their things? National security experts are warning about our aging power grid that's more vulnerable than ever. January marked the third time a power station in North Carolina was damaged by gunfire in a recent attack. Authorities are saying this raises a new level of attack. Authorities are now checking our grid for vulnerabilities, and they've identified 9 key substations. If these substations are attacked, the power could go out and be knocked out for coast to coast for up to 18 months. Imagine a blackout lasting not days, but weeks or months. Your life would be frozen in time right at the moment the power fails. Lights all over the country would go out, throwing people into total darkness, unless you have night vision. That's why having your own solar power is more important than ever. With the new Patriot Power Generator 2000X, you get solar generator that doesn't install into your house because it's portable. You can even take it with you, even use it inside, because it's powerful enough for your phones, your medical devices, or even your fridge. And right now, if you go to 4patriots.com and use code FRN, you get 10% off your first purchase of anything in the store, including the Patriot Power Generator. You also get this famous guarantee and free shipping on all orders over $97. A portion of this sales goes to charities that support our veterans and families. Just go to 4patriots.com and use code FRN for 10% off. That's 4patriots.com and use code FRN to get yours today. And then you can run that CPAP machine so your wife doesn't kill you in your sleep.
It was oddly specific.
Yeah, that felt like a story.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I got to work on it.
I go to the VA to pick mine up next week.
You lucky bastard.
Well, guys, is there anything else that you would like to add to tonight before we kick off for the evening?
And I mean, personally, I'm always very appreciative of times like this on any show, and obviously being back, that feels great. I'm really thankful for everybody that watches and listens and spreads the word. Know that Matador Arms is attempting their best every day to definitely hear and respond and reply to problems, issues, and just good things in general too. I know Chris spends quite a bit of time in the trenches out there doing that and speaking the lingo. So that's what I have, and I'm glad you guys are looking forward to the lower and getting to see some of the first images of the lineup that's in the works. So thank you as always.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to have you guys on. Chris, you got anything to add?
I created enough libel tonight.
Yeah.
No, carry on to what Zach said. Appreciate being on. Appreciate you guys. And same thing. Like I'm all over. A couple members of the team. We're all over as many forums, Reddit, places we can be. Where if people are out there discussing our product and we see it, we're gonna respond to you. Try to help you if we can, or just listen to your feedback. So feel free to engage with us, man. We're here to make the best thing we can.
Yes, and again, we appreciate you guys coming on so much. Again, we definitely enjoy like your products and you guys coming out and talking to us, and appreciate you coming to talk about things that are coming down the pike so much.
Mm-hmm.
We love cool shit, and we love talking to fellow nerds.
Anytime, gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
Yep. All right. So, boys, you got anything else to add tonight?
Well, maybe they could throw out their credentials. For anyone who hasn't heard of these guys, where can we find them at?
Hey, we're on most social medias, Facebook. I think we even started our Twitter recently, or we're getting ready to. We're on Instagram, and then obviously you can matadorarms.com.
Yeah. It's Matador Arms everywhere. That's
awesome.
Yep. Tyler, you got anything to add tonight?
No, I'm good. As always, appreciate you guys coming on and keep pumping out cool shit.
Absolutely.
Yep. And tonight we have, I put in our special algorithm, an EJ Bogner. Shoot us an email at AR-15 Podcast 2.0 because our good friends over at Patriot Patch Company made FRN patches that we are still giving away. So send us your email and we can get you your free patch for participating tonight. And again, Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co for all your morale patch needs. And that's Jake started the whole network that we're on and has been putting out awesome patches now. So that is a lot of fun. Guys, I have nothing else to do. Thank you so much, Matador Arms, for coming on. And you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed.